Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, there is no guests, man. What's the story?
There is no guest, man. Just me and you this time out. I think every now and then it's good for me and you just to have a chat and not have to worry about scheduling someone in or not have to worry about someone letting you down at the last minute. And that's sort of the life of a podcaster when you're getting guests on your shows as well. Look, we always appreciate people's time when they give us to us. So thank you for that when they are here. But just us today. If you have been watching the show recently and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, it actually means the world to us. So please do. And if you're on Spotify or you're on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening, and it's a subscribe button there, make sure you hit it because that makes our lives so much better when you do.
I didn't interrupt.
Good man, Basmo. He didn't interrupt. He didn't have something sarcastic to say like you normally do. But
typical.
Yeah, how are you getting on, Basmo? How's life?
Yeah, this is actually a funny one. When was the last time we did a show by ourselves?
Oh, I'd say it's probably about 2 or 3 months ago, as I at this stage.
Yeah, I think like we're just getting used to getting guests on the whole time. But like it's about to come into the summer now, and we're sort of like maybe we should tell the people what we sort of have lined up. And before we get obviously into UFC 262, we're going to be discussing all the Bellator crack as well, and obviously the Canelo win and the Jake Paul Mayweather Logan Paul crack. So we will be going into all this stuff. So if you are new to the show, as Ross said, make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, Ross is like things that we're still here in Dublin in lockdown. It's I'm actually getting fed up to be honest.
Well, you're allowed to get your haircut today, Basmo.
That's true. Actually, things were opened up today.
Yeah, so I think we're at the first phase of it. So I think I'm sure people will have less eyes on television, less ears on podcasts and stuff as going forward. Because I think as of today, restrictions are starting to lift in Dublin. So hopefully, well, in Ireland, sorry, I should say. So hopefully things can get back to some form of normality soon enough. And like, I'm sure, like most of you who are listening to this right now, me and Barry are just waiting for like some form of live sports to get back to that you can actually attend. I don't care. Like, I'll go see the Tiddlywinks competition in person now at this stage just to get out in there and see something. So expect to see people in Ireland with fresh fades again. I think next will be probably James. I think over the next couple of days, your Instagram news feed will be, covered with people from fresh fades. And then the coming weeks, everyone will be taking pictures of the gym saying, good to be home. Can't wait. Back to my happy place. You'll see all the cringy stuff. But look, it's great to be back. It's a very strange thing, lockdown. And I find it's very strange that like the government dangle like this carrot in front of you, being like, if you're really good now, we'll let you go to your mate's gaff. You know,
but only the front garden.
Yeah, only the front garden. It's such a strange thing. Like Penny's opened up like a booking system. I don't know if you saw that. It was all over like social media, and like people were in a queue to get into a queue to go to Penny's. And I was like, fucking hell. There's not one shop in the world where I'd be like, right, like on Ticketmaster, when you're in the queue waiting to go to a concert, people were like that for pennies.
Yeah, I suppose these people were selling their
slots.
Their slots for like £100.
Jesus, if I'd known that, maybe I would have joined the queue.
Got a few tickets. The thing is, like obviously before we went into COVID and stuff, we were doing our shows together in the same room all the time. Now, obviously, and we were like, how are we going to get Conor McGregor into your kitchen? Obviously, things have changed. You're obviously in a new house now. I'm in a new house now, and I just can't wait for events to start kicking, like letting fans in. Obviously, the boxing was on over the weekend. There were 70,000 people there, and like obviously, I wasn't feeling too well over the weekend, so I was just looking at it, being like, Jesus, like 70,000 people. I can't even like leave my gaff.
I know, yeah, it's absolutely crazy to see what people are doing in different spots. Also, shout out to Lidl who are like selling antigen tests, so like you can actually go get them and take one, and then it'll like tell you have COVID in like 10 minutes. So like that's pretty cool.
Well, it's just going to be interesting to see what the result of all this stuff is going to be. Like I already get anxiety as well, so like leaving the house now is still weird. Like as time goes on, it's getting worse and worse. So like the sooner things open up, the sooner my body can get used to like actually going out and socializing. Even though we seem to be socializing online, but it's not the same when you're around people,
No, it's not, because like when you're online and you're texting or whatever, or you're on video call, like for all you know, I'm in my jocks sitting here. You know what I mean? I just have a t-shirt on. So there's definitely a lot of home comfort that people have got themselves into, And I'd be interested to see, in certain businesses aspects, like has productivity increased or has it like decreased? Because I'm sure there's loads of people who are like logging into the computer and like playing a game of FIFA on the sly, you know what I mean? And then I'm sure there's other people who are like, this is great, don't have to travel from work, and like they smash their workout probably early, how they can like get out for a walk or whatever. So
yeah,
it'd be very interesting to see what way that works.
I know. Let's go over what we've been doing, man, because like I'm sure people are like, what's going on? And obviously, over the last few weeks, we've been doing face-offs, which is something that we've really enjoyed, and we've done 4 of them. And not one of the 8 athletes have actually fought each other, so that's crazy. But we do have more lined up, Ross. Like with the face-offs in the future, what do we sort of have lined up? And like if anyone's listening now about the Robin, don't even think of Robin.
Yeah, I think Clan Wars is set to come back, although very bizarre that they haven't posted anything on their Instagram about fights reconfirmed and stuff like that, which is strange considering they're on a pay-per-view model. They are set to come back at some stage. I think is it the end of this month, Baz?
Yeah, I'm just getting the date now. Hold on.
Oh, you'll get the end of that. And then look, Cage Warriors have announced shows in June. We'd love to get some face-offs for that. I'm sure we will. One key to getting face-offs on an international scale is that you need both guys to be able to speak English, because it's actually unfair to the non-English speaker, because one fella could be absolutely roasting them and you actually wouldn't even know. And we want to give them a platform to actually say their piece. We're not here to have one fella get made a show of by the other fella. Now that might happen, but like that's on them to like verbally defend themselves.
It's more to promote them, and also like it's helping us as well. But we're giving them the platform, and they need to get their names out there, especially if they want to be a world champion. They're going to have to do media at some stage. That Clan Wars event, Clan Wars 39 and 40, is now rescheduled to Saturday the 29th of May and Sunday the 30th of May. So like, I don't think like that's going to be up in Northern Ireland, let's say. I don't think we're going to be able to get up to that, Ross. But like, we will be doing Clan Wars face-offs for that. There's also going to be like another Muay Thai competition that's come to Dublin as well. I think it could be possibly Cork, but we do plan on inviting some of them fighters on as well. So trying to diversify also like from MMA to Muay Thai. And like, we'd like to get into boxing as well, or even like wrestling or jiu-jitsu competitions and stuff. So like we're broadening our horizons without even like overly going into like thinking about it. I think
absolutely nothing is off the table.
Yeah, I think we're just going with the flow.
Yeah,
I even saw Sir Steve-O Timothy's fighting Paddy Barnes. They're both fighting in wheelchairs, so like we could even do that for raise awareness as well. It's more about having the crack, and like, we love creating content, so why not do it? So that covers the face-offs, Ross. As for events coming back in Ireland, or us going to events.
Look, I suppose one thing, when we haven't bought the tickets for yet, but I'll buy them tomorrow. Michael Bisping is coming to Dublin, I think is it October, November?
October.
And I think we'll probably go and see that. But one thing I want to touch on is us getting on the UFC countdowns. That was pretty special for us. We never had any subtle brags about it at any stage. We sort of just went, yeah, we doing that, and then we got on with it. We were obviously on for Izzy versus Jan, and then Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. So like, they were 2 really big cards. I think that was UFC 259 and UFC 261.
Yeah.
So like, we'll probably get on a UFC 263. We seem to be on every second one.
Miss 264.
I hope we don't miss UFC 264, because obviously that's a McGregor card, and that's absolute money. But yeah, look, absolute shout out to the UFC production team. They do a serious job doing that. I watched the UFC 262 countdown there today, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
One of the like best shots is when, I don't know if you saw the chariot horses like racing at the very end of the Chandler Oliveira part, and I was like, this is like very, very cool. Like, it's so well done.
It is.
And it really makes you more invested in the fight than you were before. Regardless of how pumped you were already, you watch the countdown, you're like, it's on.
The thing is, the countdowns we were on, I didn't really enjoy. I wasn't able to like take them in as a fan. I was like, oh, we're on a deadly, move on. Whereas we weren't on this one, so I like actually enjoyed watching it. It's weird, you know?
Yeah, but I think you're concentrating on one part, and the whole time you're watching the countdown that we're on, you're like, when are we saying our line?
Yeah.
And you're like, there it is. And then you're like, oh, okay, done. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, grand, it worked out well. Because we don't get told what part of the edit our audio is going to be in until we see it. So a bit like the Lions tour, we see it live with the fans.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, if people haven't noticed or if they don't know, like, how hungry we are to be successful at this, like we know that we want to be the number one in Ireland and then see, like, take from there. A lot of people have said we are number one. Like, whether they say we're number one or number 10, it doesn't bother me. I just want to keep putting out the best content. Second, we put something out, we're already on to the next thing. We don't, like, bask in it. I think, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but, like, we haven't gotten to where we want to go yet. You know what I mean? We've been featured on 2 countdowns, and I'm sort of like, I want more.
Yeah, well, I think we move with the times. We don't, rest on our laurels. We don't go, geez, that interview got loads of views, so, like, we won't do another one ever again. You know what I mean? That doesn't really make sense for us. Yeah. So we're always trying to provide new content. We're always trying to change things up on the Instagram as well, which I think a lot of our sort of audience comes from there. Look, I love doing this.
Yeah,
we would both love to do this eventually at some stage full time. Like, that would be, like, the absolute dream. So again, I'm going to ask you, if you are listening to this and you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you already subscribed, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's just more to come without doubt. When things open, we're going, like, And
yeah, definitely, yeah. And then, like, UFC 264 is, like, on the horizon. UFC 263 has obviously got 2 title fights and a Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards fight on it. I mean, like, the cards are coming thick and fast. The boxing's getting a lot more interesting. We're all waiting for Joshua Fury to be announced. Imagine doing that face off, Basmo. And then, like, even at the weekend, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders was on, and I think we're covering more boxing now than we were beforehand. But again, like, we're probably closer to the casual boxing fans than the elite boxing fans. We watch sort of the main guys who we're interested in, who, like, are pushed in front of our faces. So, and I don't have a problem saying that. And I think as long as you're open and honest saying that, like, I'm not watching, the regional boxing on Friday night. Oh, that's okay.
Well, the thing is, we just loved combat sports and other sports as well, and we just kept going and kept getting guests on, and then the show kept growing, and the people sort of asked for more, and we enjoy it. Like, if we didn't enjoy this, we wouldn't be doing this, But no, I just can't wait to see what, like, once things start opening up again, once we start going to events, the bigger and better opportunities going to come. Like, I mean, we've already been on the UFC countdown twice, like, when things have been locked down. So when things open up, like, I really don't, I can't even picture what's going to happen. But, like, I love the way we're really, really, like, invested now in the Irish domestic scene as well. How we're really trying to push and put on fights. I mean, put on the face-offs and just create entertainment for the Irish scene, because I felt like it was lacking, and then we just stood up to the plate and just kept putting out the content. And I can't wait to go to the events and support the Irish scene, because, like, obviously Conor's in the twilight of his career. Obviously Ian Gary's making his way into the UFC. Dean Barry's on the roster. But we just want more and more and more. And the more hype there is, the more opportunities there's going to be, and the more events we get to go to. Really, I just want my weekends booked for the next couple of years, going to events, doing interviews, all this sort of stuff. I want this to be my full-time job, and I think the way we're going, I think we're getting close to it. Either that, or we'll be standing in the social welfare queue together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, as you said, Basmo, you know what I mean? UFC has 2 Irish time fighters. Cage Warriors has a number of Irish time fighters. Bellator has a number of Irish time fighters. Brave has a number of Irish time fighters. We're just waiting for the PFL to sign someone from Ireland to have, like, be in all the leagues and then the one championship. But, like, look, as long as there's Irish fighters floating around, we'll still be here and we'll still be talking about it. And it doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. So they're here for the long haul, and we have some great talent coming out of this country. And like you say, Basmo, we like to start at the grassroots. We had, obviously, Liam O'Griffin on, we had Paddy Houlihan on, we had Phil Mulpeter on, we've had Chris Fields on, and, like, we're trying to promote guys from all these gyms. Also Owen Roddy on as well. So, like, we're trying to promote people from all these gyms and trying to, give them their opportunity to get their name out there as well. And I just think that's so important for them in the young career, especially if they want to go into the pro game, they want to do a world champion. You know what I mean? We're a very soft interview, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to ask them, rock hard questions that, are going to have to, dig deep to find an answer to, you know what I mean? Like, we're not there going, what's your why? And, you know what I mean? It's not a TED Talks here, you know what I mean? It's relatively lighthearted most of the time.
It can be when you're speaking though sometimes, but
thanks, bud. I'll bring the seriousness to it. But yeah, so like it's great to give that platform out to people, and we hopefully continue to do it. And then yeah, like Basmo said, really looking forward to getting a few more face-offs, just because I think they're like the ultimate crack that we can do. Yeah. And like I don't think I'll ever forget that Chad and Josh one. It was just pure fire. Yeah, it was legendary. People loved it. So that's what we plan on doing.
And we do always get in contact with the people on fight week to get them on, or just before fight week to try and set up interviews. Like obviously sometimes they're busy and they can't do it, but like we are always trying, and we have a couple more coming down this week, but we're just waiting to see what the story is. And we always record on Monday, and no one was available on Monday, so we were just coming out to show full stop, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And at the end of the day, you know, I mean, we don't want anyone ever waking up on their Tuesday morning going, "Where's the Spotify, lads? Where is the Spotify?
Where's that show that I don't listen to?" But yeah, but like I mean, it's impossible to take a guess what we're going to be doing in a month's time or 2 months' time, because things change so mad. Like in a couple of months' time, we'll all be I hope to be vaccinated, so it's impossible to make any predictions if whether or not we could be at UC 264, 265, 266. Like we really don't know, but hopefully we get to Clan Wars first, and then we build up from there, because there's some great events coming out, and we will be keeping you updated on it. Ross, anything else to say before we go into the world of UFC first?
No, man, you lead us way there.
All right, well, like you have a couple of things to say first about the UFC, about Diego Sanchez getting released. Like before we get into that, what way do you want to do? Do you want to talk about sort of like current news, then the week, just look over the weekend's action, and then this weekend's UFC 262?
Well, I wouldn't mind starting with Diego Sanchez, just because that's
what I was going to ask. So news first. Well, okay, fire off with that. Yeah.
Well, more so, it was news of the week, and he was supposed to fight on this weekend's card against Cowboy Cerrone. I don't know if people saw, but we shared last week at some stage. Diego Sanchez was having his fighter meeting with John Anik, Megan O'Leary, Paul Felder, and his coach Josh Fabio was there, and I also think Stephen Bonner was in the room as well. And they sort of did their fighter meeting.
I think Bonner was recording it.
He was, yeah, I think so. I just wasn't like, I don't think it was ever confirmed that like it was definitely him, but he was in Diego's supposed to be in Diego's, or he was in Diego's corner. Sorry for that fight.
Yeah. Well, explain who Diego Sanchez is first for the people who don't know.
Diego Sanchez is from the Ultimate Fighter season 1. Just to put that into context, I think we're on the Ultimate Fighter season 26 or something now. He is one of the longest serving UFC veterans of all time. He is an absolute veteran of sport. He has competed in 3 different weight classes, and he's an absolute legend. He also, for people who don't know, you know Daniel Bryan, who does yes, Diego Sanchez actually invented that, and Daniel Bryan stole it off him. So just in case Al Foran's watching, there you know. Except his was actually a yes cartwheel. Diego Sanchez did like 40 cartwheels in a row and did yes. He is known as Nightmare. He was also known as the Dream at one stage. You know what I mean? So anyone who like changes their nickname a few times, you know they've been around for a while. Yeah. Diego recently linked up with this coach, Josh Fabio. I don't think anyone knows who Josh Fabio really is, but he seems to be this sort of mindset coach, but also pawns himself off as a mixed martial arts coach. I don't know if he has any MMA background or any sort of martial arts.
I think he got his black belt off Steven Seagal.
Oh, perfect. So like very good with the crane kick. He, in fairness to Steven Seagal, he taught Anderson Silva everything he knows. So Josh Fabio interrupted the end of this fighter meeting and sort of gave out about the commentary, saying the commentary was really biased against Diego Sanchez last time out. I believe Daniel Cormier was actually on commentary, but Fabio has been ruining Diego's life and is after brainwashing Diego Sanchez. Fabio is on Diego's Instagram a lot. He's having these lengthy DM chats against Ariel Helwani, against Daniel Cormier, like saying that they're so against Diego Sanchez. He also like had like almost it was a full-on confrontation against Paul Felder, Megan O'Leary, and John Anik. I think John Anik tried to pull Diego Sanchez aside separately and be like, here, look, no one here is trying to disrespect you. We all have the utmost respect for you. Paul Felder gave his best Conor McGregor impression, like, who the fuck is this guy? And what are you even doing? He made it very much about him. He made sure to record everything. And he actually said during the recording, goes, "This recording's going nowhere." And then 2 months later, it ends up out online. Meg O'Leary handled it like an absolute boss, being like, "Here, look, this is all about Diego. It's not about you, and you're making it about yourself," which he was. And then another video came out this week of Diego Sanchez hanging upside down like a piñata. And Josh Fabia, he starts off sort of slapping him in the face. Then he sort of gives him like these like almost rabbit punches. Like, they're not very hard punches, but I don't think anyone enjoys getting punched in the face one way or another. And then he starts head kicking him while he is hanging upside down. It was like he was hanging as if he was a piece of meat in a butcher shop.
Yeah.
And Diego Sanchez was just getting repeatedly hit by Josh Fabia. I have no idea what his methods are. People like Rashad Evans have reached out to Diego Sanchez like publicly online on Instagram saying, "Diego, you need help. You need to get away from this guy." And Diego Sanchez came out, I think it was on Anthony Smith's podcast. I didn't even know Anthony Smith had a podcast, but he said that the UFC are out to try and kill him. Don't be surprised if you think if I end up with a drug overdose or in a surprise car accident, the UFC are trying to kill me. So I've never seen such ludicrous statements in my entire life. And I am in grave fear for Diego's life, not at the hands of the UFC, but at the hands of himself and at the hands of Josh Fabia. Baz, what did you make of it?
I don't know. It looked like a scene out of Saw, the movie. Obviously, I don't know, like, you know,
even the lighting was a bit strange.
Yeah, the lighting was dark and all. Man, like, I mean, Diego's old enough and knows how to defend himself enough to actually like that he should be able to sort this shit out. But it looks like he's like trapped in a web. What are you really meant to do? He's after being released now as well. So like, what is he meant to do?
I have no idea. Just to say, the UFC actually paid Diego his show and win money, and told him not to fight. I don't think there was an official UFC statement as to why they cut him and why he wasn't allowed to fight, but I assume it would have something to do with them releasing the footage of the fighter meetings and trying to make the UFC look bad, even though they actually did nothing wrong. I think someone needs to like kidnap Diego Sanchez and like keep him away from Josh Fabia and like see how he gets on. But he's in a really, really bad place. I really hope the best for him, but I don't think this is going to end well. I don't think Diego was like crying on camera saying he's like afraid for his life and he's not being treated fairly. Whether you like to think he has or hasn't been treated fairly, I think on this occasion it's all on Diego and all on Josh Fabia. So I think it's a scary situation, to say the least.
How do we move on from here without sounding like we don't give a shit?
Well, I think we did say we give a shit by saying it's a scary situation and that we wish the best for Diego and hopefully he can get that man out of his life, you know?
Yeah, well, the last year has been crazy for everyone, so it's hard. Whoever has had mental health issues before all this lockdown stuff and like kept the level head, like he must be bulletproof. But hopefully Diego does. I'm sure someone will reach out and help him. He has a lot of fans and stuff. I'm sure someone's gonna try and do something or reach out and hope we'll keep you posted because it's not going to be rectified by us two here in Dublin talking absolute garbaginho.
Basmo, another thing I wanted to get into was staying in that welterweight division. Kazmat is coming back in August. Obviously Neil Magny won there at the weekend, and I think that looks like the lighty fight. He said August 170, September 185, October 170, and November 185. Are we going to see Kazmat fight 4 times in 4 months?
I don't think 4 times, but like. Just get like sign the contract for the first one. I just want to see Kazma back in there, whether it be Magny or it's probably only Magny really that you can make a fight against, could it?
Yeah, well, I suppose you could make an argument that he fights Chiesa, Vicente Luque.
I think Chiesa's booked in, isn't he?
I think they were talking of doing him versus Usman, but I think that fight's not finalized.
No, I don't want to
now. And I think now that Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz got moved to UFC 263, they're definitely not going to put a fourth 5-rounder on that card.
What about Colby?
Yeah, Colby would be an interesting fight versus Kazmat as well. But I feel like they're saving. I feel like they're saving Colby for Usman. I think that's the fight that they're looking at doing. But yeah, I think that 170-pound division is looking very, very interesting. Obviously, Gilbert Burns is going to fight Wonder Boy. Leon Edwards is going to fight Nate Diaz. Usman just knocked out Jorge Masvidal. So, and like the return of Kazmat is big news.
Yeah.
I just want to, like you said, Basil, I don't want to see him get in there. I want to see him mix it up. I want to see, has he improved? If that's even possible.
If striking could improve.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's the biggest threat to Kamaru Usman in the 170-pound division, if I'm being honest. If you look at his skill set, his power, his physique, I think he matches up very well against Usman. And I think he could be the man to give Usman the most problems.
I'd agree, saying out of people that haven't fought Usman.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like, look, obviously, maybe Wonder Boy could give Usman problems in a totally different manner with his striking. Who knows? Obviously, Leon Edwards is going to always be a tough fight for him. Colby Covington's always going to be a tough fight for him. But I always try and look outside the guys Usman's beaten, because I also think Usman gets better every fight as well. And, your best chance of beating Kamaru Usman was yesterday. That's the way I look at him.
Who do you think will win, Adesanya or Usman?
Very sort of interesting fight. I do think Usman would win. I think he'd be able to get him down. We actually saw the way Jan Blachowicz was able to get him down.
Yeah.
And I fancy Usman to get that one, to be honest. But you always have that sort of big brother feel to it. And, you know what I mean? Can the little brother beat the big brother? And who knows? But I don't see that fight ever coming to fruition.
Either way. They're both over around 33 as well. So,
what you could see happening? You could see Usman beat Kazmat, but Kazmat beat Izzy.
Oh my God.
Because I think Kazmat matched up very well against Izzy. I think he would 100% be able to implement a similar game plan to Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, like Kazmat is it's the real deal. Like, you look at him and he's one of the scariest guys you've ever seen. Like, now that Ngannou's the heavyweight champion of the world, when he walked by us and that total eclipse happened in Times Square, like, you knew that guy was the baddest man on the planet, and then he eventually was. If the shoe fits, And Ross, you're obviously cracking away some good UFC news. Is there anything else?
Nick Diaz is not going to fight Kazmat. Do you think he should fight? And as we're on the welterweight division, do you think he should definitely fight Jorge Masvidal? Like, if you're bringing Nick Diaz back and he's going to fight at 170, why not? The other sort of left field one that I'd be interested in seeing is, what about Nick Diaz versus Dan Hardy, and Dan Hardy to return again?
I think I'd like that.
I think that's a great scrap. Like, why not? Two guys coming back off a long layoff. Two guys like to throw down. Two real martial artists. I'd be game ball for it.
Yeah, or even like Carlos Condit's knocking around. Matt Brown's still there, I think.
Yeah.
I know they just fought each other.
I like any one of those four. I think Nick Diaz needs a sort of a litmus test. I mean, we need to see which Nick Diaz we're getting. Are we getting the Strikeforce Nick Diaz that fought Paul Daly, or are we getting the Nick Diaz that showed up against Anderson Silva? Because they're two totally different Nick Diazes.
There's something about the UFC right now that's not really
popping.
I mean, they're always putting out good stuff. They're all like, let's not get shit twisted, right? They're the best. They are the best, and the content they put out is the best. Everything about it's the best. It's just like there's a couple of fights that haven't been made. I don't even know what they are, but it just really hasn't made me like go, oh, can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. Like, even the
Jones and
Conor
Ngannou. Are you waiting for that one to be made?
It's actually a bit too, like, it's almost so far away. Like, it's hard to be like buzzing for something that could be September, October, Like, even McGregor seems too far away.
You know what I think it is, right? I think for the first time in a very long time, you're unsure of a lot of the UFC champions. So put it this way. Aljamain Sterling is the bantamweight champion, and he's out injured, and he won the fight in a very, very strange fashion. Volkanovski is the featherweight champion.
Strange fashion.
Okay, well, look, I'm just calling it as it is. Volkanovski is the featherweight champion, and a lot of people think Max Holloway is better than him, which is very strange in itself. There is no lightweight champion at the moment, and people are sort of, coming to the idea that, the best 55-pounder not named Khabib Nurmagomedov isn't in the title fight. You look at 170 and you have Usman, and he's killing it. You go up to 185 and you have Adesanya, but he lost his last fight, which sort of takes a bit of rub off him. And then you go up to 205 pounds, and you have Jan Blachowicz, absolute animal, but like 205 has looked less sexy now than it ever has in a very long time. He's going to fight Glover Teixeira for the title bet next. You know what I mean? That's almost looks like a retirement home.
And we wanted to see Yuri fight.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And then you have Francis Ngannou, who's the heavyweight champion, but we're not getting the one fight that we're looking for, which is John Jones. So there is a lot of sort of up in the airness. And then obviously in the women's side of things, you have Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko are both like just chopping off contenders one after the other like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think we're missing a big sexy fight. And I think that sort of happens from time to time. I just don't think so many divisions have been cut off in such a long time at the same time, if that makes sense. So I think, give it 6 months, let a few things play out, and it'll be totally different.
Yeah. I think that's why when I said to you last week, I was like, I'm not really looking forward to anything. It's just like, I think everyone's just going through a crossover into the summer now as well. I think that's, it's just seasonal. Like, what I mean? We could have a fight lined up, looking forward to doing a show, and then it gets pulled. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like last week we were meant to do Dillashaw against Sandhagen, pulled. You know what I mean? And then it's like,
and also,
Basmo, what to promote, really.
This is the first time in a very long time where Bellator put out a better show this weekend than UFC did. So, like, when you look at it that way, like that's a rare commodity. You know what I mean? Like in the main event, you had Waterson versus Rodriguez, and then over in Bellator, you had Archuleta versus Pettis. I mean, you also have Peter Queally versus Pitbull, and like maybe for an American fan that wasn't as big, but for Irish fans that was bigger card for us. You had MVP on the card, you have Stotts fighting on the card. You know what I mean? Bellator put on
who's meant to be fighting James Keller
as well. You know what I mean? Like it was the Bellator card from head to toe was better than the UFC card. You know what I mean? So I think when you look at it that way, you're probably not looking at UFC in the same light as you might look next weekend after UFC 262 and there's a new lightweight champion and there's a bit more buzz about it.
Yeah, you know, like as you know yourself, teams can change. Like Tuesday is when the UFC go to the boardroom and make all the fights and stuff, and you never know. Like a Darren Till against someone could like blow things up again. Darren Till against Kazma or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there, but like, you know, the way one fight can change our mentality and be like, right, this is it. And like, even you just brought up Peter Queally there. He won over the weekend, and now he's definitely going to be fighting in Bellator Dublin. I think the October card's definitely going to happen. Yeah, and then like James is probably going to fight in it as well. I know Leah's fighting on the 15th. I think she could be fighting on as well. Like, I mean, I know they let some of the lads go. Like, I know Will Fleury's off the roster now as well, but I think that Bellator Dublin card is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And like, even if it doesn't happen this year, it's just good to see the Irish winning. You know, Peter Queally went unranked into that fight, and now he beat the number 2 contender for the lightweight belt. So who knows? Peter Queally, and there's a narrative there for him to get a title shot. I mean, if he fought the other Pitbull brother who was the champ, I mean, he's already beaten his brother. So therefore, why not give Peter Queally a title shot? Why not try and give him a title shot in Dublin? It would be huge. You know, it'd be a massive audience draw anyway. You know what I mean? You could definitely up the price of tickets if they're putting a world title fight on in Dublin. And that's not me. That's not me trying to get people to pay more to see it. But I'm just saying in general.
Do you know what? I just feel like we're after studying or something for so long, and now I'm just trying. I want to do the test and like taste the fruits of the labor and go to the events and see it firsthand. You know, like I just basically feel like I've been locked up for a year, and I'm looking forward to get out there and. You know what I mean?
I also do think that when you see so many fans at fights, you're like, why can't I be one of those guys at the fights?
Well, that's why we decided to do MMA shows, Ross. You know what I mean? If we wanted to go to the crochet Olympics, we would have given your mate that lost over the weekend.
Billy Joe Saunders?
Maurice Green. No, Maurice Green. We would give him a shot.
The crochet boss.
crochet boss. Man, we're just trying to get out there. I mean, like, you know what I mean? The sooner we get there, the sooner things can happen. You were touching on Bellator, Ross. There is no Bellator this weekend, but like obviously it was back. They were back for 3 events in a row. The next one's going to be Bellator 259. That's going to be headlined by Cyborg against Smith for the second time. Ireland's own Sinead Kavanagh said, I think she said that bitch took my title shot, but she called her something anyway. But Ross, like we're just looking at it now, like Pettis defeated Juan Archuleta, so he's a new champ. Then Anthony Rumble Johnson won as well, so he's through to the next round. Peter Creedy, you said he defeated Patricky Pitbull. Michael Venom Page won as well. That was just on the main card. But like looking at it now, we obviously had Michael Venom Page on the show last week, and then like when we did the show, like I was absolutely hanging on my arse. But like we said off air, Michael Venom Page must now be looking. He's 34 now. He must be looking at what Michael Chandler's doing, and then how Chandler's fighting for the title this weekend, and be like, that could be me.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think this narrative is slowly but surely going away that Michael Venom Page is not a can crusher. He is one of the most talented welterweights on the planet.
And exciting.
And exciting. He'd be in my top 5 pound for pound fighters who are just on pure excitement. He is must-see TV. He is a skull crusher. And there's no other ways about it. Like Derek Anderson's nose was like caved in. It was actually quite gruesome, to say the least. But he is so fast. You know what I mean? Like, that kick was so well disguised as well. And he's just so elusive. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people look at the way he was finished by Lima in that title fight. And they don't look at the whole fight as a whole. You know, he was giving Lima some like big problems in that fight before you got knocked out. So I'd be very, very much so interested to see that rematch. And I'd love to see him in the UFC. And I'd love to see him fight some UFC guys. Why not? I think he'd do very well against Neil Magny. I think he'd do very well against Jeff Neal. I think he'd do very well against Chiesa. I think he'd do well against Wonderboy.
Oh, that's the fight.
I don't know if
that's the fight.
That's definitely the fight to make Dreamland. You know what I'm actually raging with? When we were in Cork, we should have got Wonderboy and MVP to do a face-off.
You could have done it.
Yeah, but that fight would have been like...
I would have been like, it's like you.
Yeah, but that fight could have been like epic. You know what I mean? Like, as in like that's an absolute dream crossover fight.
Yeah, but like we were rookies basically. We didn't know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know what we were really doing. Like that's the thing. Like every time you experience something the first time, you don't really know what you're doing. Then once you get that done, then you're like, right, we know exactly what to do next time. That's why, like, the next time we have opportunities to do stuff, I just can't wait to really take advantage of them, you know?
Yeah, it's a bit like when we saw Ngannou, we didn't ask for a photo. I was like, I'm not asking him for a photo. Also, his English was terrible when we met him. So, like, I don't know if he would have, like, understood what we were saying in our Irish accents.
Well, you could have spoke your fluent French.
Yeah. Bonjour.
You don't want to put that F in foundation French. It's waste and leaving it, you know?
Oh, stop. But, man, do you think Peter Creedy's getting his title shot? Yes or no?
No.
No?
No.
I think he will, you know that?
I'd like him to do it. I don't think it's really going to happen. They might actually do a rematch in Dublin.
You know what? I think there's a higher chance of him getting a title shot if there's an Irish card announced.
Yeah, that's why we have to touch wood, because obviously James went off the card as well. And I know it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with Bellator. Ross here, look, we were obviously covering Brave as well. We had some of the lads on the show before Brave. They're going to Belarus, I think, on the 7th of June. There's actually no Irish fighters on the card, but we might have one
so
of the lads.
So far.
But we might have one of the lads who is actually, it does the desk for Brave. He's actually Irish as well. So
there'll always be someone Irish over there representing.
Yeah, and then and for people that are fighting, like, make sure to look at Brave. I know people obviously want to fight for the UFC, and if you put UFC up there at the top, and you just want to reach that goal. But like, if you have a look at stuff what Brave's doing, they're doing unreal things, and they're, like, especially if you're one of the lighter weights, there's going to be fights for you there. And then Cage Warriors is obviously doing really well as well these days. So they just got a date announced in August over in San Diego, is it? California.
Yeah,
I think it's like the 1st of August. But and then obviously I just can't wait to see Clan Wars or Cage Legacy come back. I just can't wait for the messy stuff, and then Gamma's meant to be coming back. It's just like, I can't wait to fucking, like, just go for it. Like, you know what I mean?
Come here. Cowboy lost by a stoppage on the weekend against Morono. Obviously it actually was like a TKO on the feet. He didn't get dropped. Do you think Cowboy should retire now?
To be honest, like, I don't even want to say he should or shouldn't. Like, after the McGregor fight, that seemed like he was basically done. Like, I mean, he's young kids. I was listening to weighing in, shout out Josh and John. I was listening to them, but, like, I mean, when you're like born to do this, and, like, you know how mad he is into his action and stuff, whether it be jet skiing or
kite
kite
surfing
surfing or
bull
fighting.
riding.
Yeah, bull riding, anything. Like, how are you meant to stop someone that's an adrenaline seeker? And like, for me or you to never step into the UFC to tell someone they should retire, he could just go tell us to get fucked. But like, I mean, he brings eyes as well. So if he's making enough money and it seems like it's worth it, then why not? But Josh did mention that he should probably do a TV show or maybe a YouTube show on his own channel, all about people going to his ranch and doing stuff there, like almost like a Viva La Bam sort of thing or a Jackass sort of thing. Maybe that could probably be cool as well.
Yeah, I definitely think he could go and do something with his ranch, his own TV show or his own series. It could be called like Extreme Sports, but Cowboys are only.
Yeah. Maybe someone should bring that up to him.
I do feel like he wants one more fight, and I think he deserves one last fight to sort of see out his career. And I think someone you mentioned earlier could be a last good final fight. What if he fought at 170 against Matt Brown? I think that could be a good winnable fight. I think he needs to fight someone who's also at the tail end of their career and looking to call it a day. I think putting him in against these guys who are on an upward trajectory is not fair to him at this stage. So I think something like that could be a good fight for him.
Yeah, headline a fight night. So Ross here, look, this weekend it is UFC 262. We didn't make the cut on the video, unfortunately, but it is being headlined by Michael Chandler against Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title. Oliveira has come literally out of nowhere for this title shot. People I don't even think many people know who Oliveira is, especially the casual. And then Chandler came from, as we said earlier, he came from Bellator, one fight against Dan Hooker, knocked him out in the McGregor Poirier card, and now he's fighting for the title. The title was obviously made vacant by Khabib. So Oliveira is taking on Chandler this weekend on Saturday. I'm looking forward to this card. Like, the co-main event was meant to be Nate Diaz against Leon Edwards. That fell off. I think that was one of the main reasons why we're not on this week's video. But Ross, Charles Oliveira against Michael Chandler. I'm after giving a bit of a background about Chandler, what he's done in Bellator, like coming to Bellator, one fight, fighting for the title. But here, give us a bit of a background on Charles Oliveira, because he is fighting for the lightweight title now, but he did previously fight in the featherweight division.
Yeah, well, Charles Oliveira holds the most submission wins in UFC history. He is an absolute finisher. He is a phenom on the ground. A lot of people, when they talk about jiu-jitsu, they talk about Damian Maia, they talk about the Gracies, they talk about Jacare Souza,
Frank Mir.
They talk about Frank Mir, Fabricio Verdum, the Nogueira brothers. But no one has got more than Charles Oliveira do Bronx. So
how is he so not known that well though?
I think it's because he has lost some fights at some key moments in his career, but he was the first fighter to main event behind closed doors. He went and he beat the brakes off Kevin Lee, and Kevin Lee, I actually quite like Kevin Lee. I think he's quite entertaining, but he's a man full of excuses if you're going to be honest about it.
I don't want to do it.
And then he beat the brakes off Tony Ferguson, and he put together, I think, is an 8 or 9 fight win streak at this stage.
Did you say 8?
Yeah, I think so. You know what? There's probably 7 finishes, if not probably close to 8 finishes out of those. He is a finisher. He gets the job done. And yeah, he doesn't have the biggest name recognition, probably because his English isn't the best. He's not the best looking guy. He doesn't talk the most.
He looks well with the blonde hair, though. I was like,
he does look better with the blonde hair.
Yeah,
I think he's almost described as almost the Brazilian Tony Ferguson in a way. But look, the more I think about this fight, the more I was leaning towards Michael Chandler. I just think he's shorter, he's got power, he can get on the inside, and he can land that big shot. But like when I watched the countdown, I was like, oh, I don't know now. Like
that's why they're meant to do it. That's why they're meant to do it.
I know, yeah. I was like, geez, it's very easy to forget what you sort of almost will like lean towards what you've seen most recently. And Chandler's knocking out of Hooker was absolutely incredible. And I suppose in terms of stature, Oliveira is sort of long and he is sort of gangly. Totally different fighting style to Hooker, but I suppose it will give Chandler the same opportunity to come up with, the same sparring partners. Obviously, Michael Chandler's fighting out of Stanford MMA. That's home to, it was home to Kamaru Usman, home to Gilbert Burns. Like, there's some absolute top world-class talent in there. When I saw Charles Oliveira was training with Diego Lima, I was like, no way. And then it was like totally different guy 2, I thought it was. He's fighting out of shoot box. Look, I think Oliveira's really brought his striking to a new level. His jiu-jitsu is the best in the UFC, and I'm going to say that the very, very best, just because he holds the most wins. Gilbert Burns probably won't like that. Mackenzie Dern probably won't like that. Damian Maia.
Better than Gilbert Burns.
Well, he has more submission wins than him, doesn't he?
What about your man who lost to Fluffy?
Oh, Rafael Faraldo or whatever his name is. No, I think in terms of MMA, using jiu-jitsu, Charles Oliveira is the best. And I'm going to say Charles Oliveira is going to win. I've talked myself into it, Basmo. I think he is going to win via rear naked choke. I know Josh Thompson said it's impossible to choke Michael Chandler out, but this has been a strange year. And I'm going to say Charles Oliveira is going to get the sub win.
Okay, well, you're obviously wrong, Ross. You know what I mean? Because I think if everyone right now, if they close their eyes and then they just sort of play the fight forward, I think Chandler is just going to sort of push and then do the same thing he did against Hooker. I think Oliveira is going to be afraid of the overhand right, and I don't obviously he knocked out Hooker with the left, but I think it's just going to be a fast one. I don't think we're going to be doing 5 rounds here. Like the longer it goes on, I'm going to favor Oliveira obviously, but I think it's going to be done early. I think Chandler's in there to just knock him out. And the things I like Chandler, but like he's too like, if you like Captain Crunch and strawberry milk chocolate ice, then you're like.
But you know what? I think the wrestling promo he cut at the end of his last fight it seems so out of character for him. It doesn't seem like that's his natural thing. But I have a lot of respect for Chandler. You know, 100%. One thing I will say. Don't be surprised to see Charles Oliveira implement that calf kick and get close to a stoppage that way. Because remember, Brett Primus implemented a calf kick against Michael Chandler and he was able to beat him. So don't be surprised to see that.
Do you remember Chandler, like he had the gimpy leg then?
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley style. Right, so let us know who you think is going to win. I'm going Michael Chandler and then Ross going Charles Oliveira. Ross, I just think if Chandler wins, he then fights the winner of Poirier McGregor. That's what should happen. And I just think Chandler against either preferably McGregor, Chandler versus McGregor, Arnold versus America. I think they're going to give that a massive push. And then like if Conor won that as well, he'd be on top of the mountain again. And then we all know when Conor's on top of the mountain, things are just entertaining, Ross. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're here to be entertained. You're not entertained. We are here to be entertained.
Well, you don't have the Irish flag there behind you for nothing.
I know. And if people are listening, I always have an orange mic and Ross has a green one. Ross, in the co-main event, Tony Ferguson taking on Beneil Dariush. Tony Ferguson, well, put it this way, if Chandler or Oliveira fall ill or something happens, one of these two lads is going to move up. Tony Ferguson, co-main event against Beneil Dariush. Ross, Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira sort of showed Tony Ferguson's age in the last fight. But what are you expecting from this one, Ferguson against Beneil Dariush, the Iranian sensation?
I really like Beneil Dariush in this fight. I think it's his coming out party. I think it's his chance to stake a claim that he is one of the elite 155 pounders in the world. We've seen it with him before. He can do it all. He can wrestle. He has spin and back fists in his arsenal. He's got great submission skills. I think Tony Ferguson at this stage of his career is too reckless of a fighter, and that's what we all love him for. But I think a bit like, see the way Justin Gaethje was a bit reckless. He honed in that recklessness and is only reckless at the right time, if that makes sense. He's when he fought Tony Ferguson, he didn't have a battle of the crazies against him. He fought a really smart fight.
What a fight that was. Jeez.
I don't think Tony Ferguson has it in him to, hone the craziness. I think he's done a bit of boxing training with Freddie Roach, so it'll be interesting to see if that comes into effect. But I suppose the reason why a lot of people like Tony Ferguson is you don't actually know what you're getting with him. You don't know who's showing up to the fight. So it'll be very interesting, but I'm going to go in what I believe. It's very hard to snap a 2-fight losing streak, especially considering, without being bad, there were quite one-sided losses on Tony Ferguson's behalf. He's 37-38 now. I fancy the young lion in Beneil Dariush.
I'm going to go Tony Ferguson for this one, Ross, just because
I said Dariush.
Well, I would have went Tony Ferguson anyway, but I just don't think Dariush is good enough to be the Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson's turned into a gatekeeper now. But let's see what happens. It's also because you don't want Tony Ferguson losing and then going down. You like him being around there, as crazy as he is. You want him sort of like just being around there, you know?
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Not that you were saying you don't want him around there, but
no. Oh no. Like I want to see him fight a few more times. Before he hangs him up.
Then
I suppose.
Ross,
go on.
Yeah, then Jack Hermansson's taking on Edmund Shabazian in the middleweight division. We are actually trying to get Jack on this week. We've had him on before, and like I'm pretty sure he's right. He actually shouted out one of our Ross edited a picture of me and Ross capturing a shark, and Jack shouted it out. Fair play, Jack. Ross, what do you expect from this? Obviously, we want Jack to lose, yeah.
Absolutely not. I think Jack Hermansson is going to be able to take Edmund Shabazian down. We saw Shabazian was fairly ineffective against Derek Brunson on the ground. I think Jack Hermansson is going to do the same thing, and I think he'll probably get a submission win. I think one thing that does favor Shabazian is being a 3-round fight as opposed to a main event. If I'm not mistaken, was this not meant to main event something before? No.
I'm not too sure, but I know Shabazian was fighting in the main event, and you thought he was going to win. You thought it was his coming out party, and he actually lost quite convincingly to...
That was against Brunson, as far as I
remember. Against someone who was more experienced, that's it. Shabazian's striking coach is Ronda Rousey's striking coach, who's been slayed before. I think Jack's going to take him down. I think Jack is a very big... Like, could be a very big problem for Adesanya if he got to go head-to-head. If he took him down... Adesanya needs to work on his ground, like his ground game, just totally. So Jack needs a big win here. But hopefully we can go more into detail if or when he comes on this week. But you know, this game.
Also, I think we forgot just when we're on the topic of fish, and shout out to Gregor Gillespie, great win at the weekend. I think he was my star of the night.
Yeah, that was a great fight. There's put cardio for days. Also, Ross Edson Barbosa is fighting Shane Burgos in the featherweight division. What are you expecting from this? Because Barbosa's been up and down more times than a Brazzers Knickers.
I wasn't expecting to say that.
I was trying not to laugh, but you laughed. So I had to laugh.
Yeah, what's called definitely fireworks one way or the other. I think this one's going to be played out in the feet, and it's going to be finished on the feet. And I actually think this is very much a 50-50. And he who blinks first will be knocked out.
He who blinks first blinks last. Ross, in the prelims, Jacare Souza is on the card as well. Valentina's sister Antonia Shevchenko's taking on Andrea Lee as well. And what's in the early prelims?
I think Mike Grundy's fighting.
Yeah, Grundy against Lando Venata. That should be a bit of a scrap as well. So the card is actually all right. It's like, let's not get things twisted. It's not like the best ever main event. Pay-per-view. But when Diaz and Leon Edwards comes off a card, it's going to diminish a lot. That's also I can't wait to see that Edwards versus Nate Diaz. Ross. Obviously, the PFL came back. We were keeping an eye on it. It seemed out the 3 nights they had, only one of them sort of went to plan. But we should get into the boxing, Ross, obviously, because we're just winding things down. I want to start off by saying Katie Taylor. We didn't mention her on the last show with MVP, but he would have been like, "Why are we talking about this?" But Katie Taylor got the win as well there. Not the weekend gone, the weekend before that.
Yeah. People are talking about a rematch there, Baz. Would you be interested in seeing the rematch? Because I wouldn't overly, to be honest. I thought the last 2 rounds Taylor sort of pulled away, and I think if they fought again, I think Taylor would win, except it'd be more one-sided. I think it was a bit like it would be almost reminiscent of Fury versus Wilder, that the longer it gets into the fight, the more Taylor was finding her out.
I just like Katie the way she's like literally lining them all up and beating them all. I want her to just keep going and keep beating people.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's not much there can't be that much longer left. I think she's 34 now. Like, will she really be boxing at 37? I don't think so. So
yeah, I think let's have like 3 or 4 more fights and like call it a day. I think Amanda Serrano is definitely gonna be one of them.
Yeah, I just love watching her fights. I love the build up. It doesn't even matter against who was fighting Dylan White and
no, it was Chisora and Parker.
Chisora and Parker, sorry. And then
which I actually thought Chisora won, but Parker got the nod.
To be honest,
but like, in fairness, I wasn't actually like watching.
Yeah,
I was eating food, and I was like having a beer, and I was like, geez, Chisora's doing all right. You know what I mean? I'd already watched the main event.
So you only watched the highlights?
No, I watched it live because I was there having the beer. But like, you know, I was like, you know.
We came to watch Katie. Katie. You know what I mean? Like,
put it this way, I didn't move when Katie Taylor was fighting, and my eyes didn't like leave the screen. You know, I was like on my phone, like making sure no one was like saying that they thought Jonas won the decision.
Where do you think she's going to fight next, Ross? Because like I I want to go to one of Katie's fights before she retires.
She's going to fight in Leeds next because she's a big Leeds fan. I think they're going to do a show on Ellen Road. I think she's going to fight in that card. Okay, so like that'd be a bit of crack to go to if you get that.
Definitely, yeah. Right, so we may as well talk about Canelo Alvarez defeated Billy Joe Saunders over the weekend, Ross. They had 70,000 people in. I know we mentioned it earlier, but let's talk about the fight. Going into it, what were you expecting? Because I was sort of like, that Billy Joe Saunders gypsy style, look at the way Tyson Fury, like, I mean, if it's that much bred into you, you're going to be pretty good. I know he was 30-0, but he is fighting Canelo Alvarez. Like, Canelo Alvarez, my doppelganger, is... how would you describe Canelo Alvarez's like determination and graft and everything he's put into the sport, and just how level-headed he is? Like, how would you describe that?
I think I'd almost describe him a bit as a sponge. I think anytime he fights someone, he actually like takes something from them. And like, I'm not saying he takes a piece of their soul, even though he probably does that, but like, I feel like he sees something that they do, and like he learns that from them. And I think every time Canelo steps into the ring, he's going to be a better fighter than the fighter the last you saw. I was looking at him in the ring, and just from a physical standpoint, I was like, his back is so big.
He's only 5'7".
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then just in terms of the actual fight itself, look, Billy Joe Saunders did an absolutely fantastic job. He was landing his jab from the outside. He was getting in. He was getting out. I actually think I had Canelo up 5 rounds to 3. Going into that, or after the 8th round. But look, Canelo is the pound for pound king, and it's going to take something very spectacular to show me otherwise. I know he's going to fight Caleb Plate next, whoever that is. He's one of the other champions at his weight class, but I think that's just keep me fit fight. And then I think he's going to fight Andrade next, maybe, or maybe a Jamal Charlo next. I'd be interested to see him against those guys, but like, I don't know who if there's a man out there who can beat him. Obviously, one thing that brought a lot of talk was the stoppage. Billy Joe Saunders had come out and made loads of comments being like, I'd rather go out with my shield, and he basically called people pussies if they pull out of the fight. I don't think they've had a broken orbital bone from Canelo.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, that's the fight game, man. You have to say this shit, and if it comes back to bite you, it comes back to bite you,
Exactly. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to see Billy Joe Saunders go back out there with a broken orbital bone. I don't want to see him get seriously hurt. And, his trainer called off the fight, and that was fun. People were like, yeah, but he didn't stand up. He wasn't like, begging to continue when his trainer was like, no, he was done. Canelo was only going to win by further. So, like, there's no point competing further if you're going to get smashed further. Look,
you have to save them from themselves.
Exactly. 70,000 fans there screaming Cinco de Mayo. I mean, like waving that big Mexican flag behind Canelo.
Canelo's entrance is brilliant as well, man.
Yeah, he's a phenom. He really is. He's become one of the most must-see fighters in the world.
Speaking of must-see fighters, Ross, before we finish everything, because I actually really forgot to bring it up, Mayweather. It's booked in now against Logan Paul, the fight that nobody wants to see. Obviously, we're going to be like looking at it further as it comes closer, because things are really...
Yeah, we'll probably do a show with Noel.
Yeah, but like the way like TikTokers are fighting YouTubers next as well. Jake Paul then stealing the light by saying "got your hat" and all this stuff.
Nice hat, by the way, Bazon.
The one that he robbed the Mayweather.
No, your one.
Oh, mine's. I think it's an Adidas one. But Ross, what do you make of this now? Jake Paul's after stealing the limelight off his brother. People want to see Jake versus Mayweather more. Like, what do you make of this whole situation?
I just think it's so staged. It's so WWE-esque. It's so childish. I don't think it's good look for Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, he's going to make shit loads of money off it. I can definitely see from a financial point of view, but like, I feel like he's tainting his legacy at this stage. He
doesn't care about it though.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, and like, it's almost like he's taking Logan Paul seriously as an opponent in a certain way, in terms of like the disrespect and like the shit that's being said. It's almost like
serious as well, Ross. Like, suppose his wife or his what do they call their
his baby mama?
His baby mama. Yeah, but I don't think it is his baby mama. It's the head woman. Excuse the term. His head woman that he has, because he has a load of them. He told her. I think she's a prostitute or a stripper. I think stripper. Sorry, excuse me. And he's like, after getting her to move out of the house in the build up to the fight. So he is meant to be taken seriously, and we all know he doesn't drink or smoke. So like he's fit as fuck for a 44-year-old.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the actual fight seriously. It's more when Logan Paul's talking shit to him, like I think he's taking that seriously. He's taking that to heart. And at the end of the day, you know, he's going to get in the ring with him and be able to like make him pay for anything he said. So I do think it's a bit of a funny one. So like, I don't know.
I am looking forward to it, and because like obviously if you're listening there, you're loyal, but some from Thriller UK actually followed us as well, so we can't overly slate it.
Oh, fairness, I'm not slating it. Like
I'm not slating either. I'm just like
lots of money's going to be made. I mean, it's like I'll call it what it is. It's an absolute spectacle. It's
it's entertainment.
It's entertainment, and I think you can't rate it as like a professional boxing fight. If you're looking at it as boxing, then like you're looking at the wrong thing. And if it upsets you, you probably need to look a little bit closer to home as to like why this would actually upset you. Like if you're a boxing purist, well then you just be like, this isn't for you. You know what I mean? And that's fine. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to pay your pay-per-view euros or dollars or whatever for it. You can just skip it, and that's fine.
Yeah, Ross, it's on June 6th. So it says Sunday, June 6th, so it's going to be June 5th, Saturday night. Okay, like realistically, Mayweather's going to win. I know you're backing Logan Paul, but it's going to be Jake versus Mayweather then after, and like exhibition. Like Jake's just saying this course against people that like there is a record.
Yeah, but I think Jake almost gets a free hit against Mayweather, because if you could fight Mayweather and lose Mayweather, where he lost the best of all time, he can continue on his boxing journey. So like he gets a free hit against Mayweather. So like that's the beauty about fighting the very, very best. It's like, I lost to the very, very best. No one's ever beaten him. So therefore, it's like almost like a free hit. And I don't know how many fights Jake Paul wants to do. Like I know he says he takes it very serious. I know he's been training for the last 3 years, but like surely he doesn't want to, like, it's not a smart idea that he fights more than 5 more times.
Yeah, I think he's going to enjoy his summer and then carry around whatever belt Triller hand him or whatever, yada yada yada. But I mean, he's going to be calling out more people. He is so good at promoting a fight. Like he's just so good at it. Whether you like him or I'd say it's hard to like, but I mean, he's just so good at getting it out there, going absolutely viral.
He's got the large audience. And he's the ultimate troll. So like, that's the combination that you get.
I know.
It's love him or hate him. Like I find it very impressive. Like, imagine going up and just robbing someone's hat and then like that going viral. I mean, like out of all the things you can do in the world, that's what's after happening. And here we have it: Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather will probably be next. No, we'll probably be next.
People get them always mixed up. Sorry, man.
Well, you know, it's so funny because you see so many people who are talking about it, and you know they don't know the difference between the two of them, and like they're constantly like, yeah, Jake Paul's 3-0 and he's going to fight Floyd Mayweather next. It's like, that's not who's fighting him. It's actually his brother who's 1-1.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Yeah, we thought we'd just bring it up. There is nothing to really put a final word in that, because things are going to change every week. Russell, I want to end the show by saying a couple of things, a few shout outs.
Go for it, bud.
First one is to the Talking Bollocks podcast, lads. They put out an episode last week, and they've been killing it for 21 weeks. And then like that show they just put out there about relapse for anyone who's like going through hard times or has problems with either drinking or smoking or doing drugs or just any sort of fucked up shit going on in your life, and you want to listen to some real stuff about guys who've gone through stuff like that, and then are very open to talk about it as well, which is crazy. It reminded me a bit of Tyson Fury. Definitely check it out. It's called the Talking Bollocks podcast, because it was very, very open, and I was like myself and Ross listen to a lot of shows and listen to, like, when people are on the come up, we check out the stuff to see, because you can tell what most people's fuel is. Like, do they want to be cool? Do they want to be famous? Do they want to be this, that, and the other? And you can just see these two lads, they're just trying to put out good content, like, and it's so evident. But shout out to them, and then shout out to absolute fucking scumbags that were jumping on the cars and kicking people. I'll slow down a bit. To the fucking scumbags who, first of all, tripped up and spat at young women running towards a dart in Dublin, tripping one of them, like trying to kick them and intimidate them and all. It was absolutely disgusting. Then they actually tripped up some girl and she fell into the dart tracks, which was like, every time I see her, I just actually
with the darts at the platform as well.
Every time I see her, I think it's a joke. And then later on, these same lads go into Malahide Village and start standing on top of a car well, there's like a family inside, and then there's the driver ran off. I don't know what happened. They chased after him. Whoever was recording was a dope, did a shit job. But a little child got out of the car holding a dog and was like so upset about everything. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and they're like, I was just like, what is going on here? Like, so fuck them. And shout out to Talking Bollocks podcast. And sorry for putting you both in the same circle, but that was just something I need to get off my chest. Yeah, Ross, are you gonna foil them lads in boy collar, are you?
Man, and like I was looking at those lads and I was like, I actually wish they were 18 who could actually slap the head off. You can't actually slap the head off them because they're under 18. And they need an absolute hiding. But also shout out to the Talking Bollocks lads. They are absolutely killing the game. They're like right at the top of the podcast chart in Ireland as well. So they should be very, very proud of themselves. Really nice guys as well. Terence and Calvin. So big shout out to the lads. And Basmo, two good shout outs. Maybe we'll have to include this segment where you have like maybe a hero of the week and a villain of the week.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Anyone else in Ireland that's doing the good shit? I'm sure people are always interested, you know.
Actually, just want to say shout out to all the 8 Irish players who made the Lions tour as well. I know we've done rugby shows in the past before, but it was great to see them, and hard luck to a few other players like Johnny Sexton and Gary Ringrose who didn't make the cut.
Is there anything else?
I think that's fairly it, man. If there is anything else, I'm sure we'll do a show again with Jack Manson this week, and we can bring it up then. Yeah,
Dean Barry's meant to be fighting this week as well, so shout out Dean. That's going to be on Titan. I think it's Saturday. We are planning on bringing himself on Roddy on, and Jack Manson. They're the 3 people we're talking to about getting on this week. And put it this way, if they can't come on, we'll be back next week. We're back every Monday, Ross. And just as we said earlier, we wanted to just let you know what we had sort of coming up, the face-offs, the events. And like, obviously this is like an events-based show. So like the events have to be on for us to talk about them, you know? So if fights fall off, we can't do them. But at the end of the day, we do love doing this. Thanks, Mill, for ever tuning in. Been featured now on the UC twice. So that wasn't even a dream of mine, because I didn't even think that was possible. But we're going to try and get on it a few more times. Obviously, because Ross is so good at MMA, and I'm just so good at being sarcastic.
Good at talking about MMA.
Good at looking hungover on camera and talk about and asking MMA questions. But Ross, is there anything else to say to the loyal MMA fans or Energized fans that have been here to the very, very end?
No, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, thank you very much, because it was just me and Barry. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized.